Hello and welcome our blog viewers to RTD's news in your English edition. As usual, we'll begin tonight's news with the major and top highlights. Roundtable with financial partners for resource mobilization. And on the international scene in Burma, another person sentenced for Aung San Suu Kyi. Those were our major highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The Republic of Djibouti is preparing to conduct its third General Synthesis of Population and Housing, commonly known as the RGPH. It is in this sense that the Kempinski Hotel has hosted an important roundtable in the dynamics of finding the necessary funds for the execution of these various activities. This important meeting chaired by the Minister of Finance with the head of diplomacy, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, the director of the National Institute of Statistics, Mr. Idris Ali Sultan, and the representative of the United Nations Population Fund, head of the donor, and the representative of the United Nations Population Fund, leader of the donors and technical and financial partners who took part in this roundtable. The general objective of this third General Census of Population and Housing is to contribute to the improvement of the knowledge of the demographic, social, and economic situation of the country. In this sense, it will allow a better formulation of development programs and strategies. At the international levels, it is part of the 2020 series of censuses scheduled by the United Nations Statistical Commission for the period 2015-2024. The main innovation of this round of census is the use of information and communication technologies for data collection and processing. The objective of the roundtable is to obtain the mobilization of the necessary resources for the execution of all activities of the third RGPH. More specifically, the third RGPH will be carried out within the specificity of the use of information and communication technologies, ICT. During this day, it will be a question of presenting the project document of the RGPH to the partners and of arousing the interest of technical and financial partners and the public and private establishments for the third RGPH, but also to obtain financial and technical support for the international and national partners. After the speeches, the director of the National Institute of Statistics made a brilliant presentation detailing the ins and outs of the RGPH and its main lines. Once completed, a series of exchanges that brought fruit were taken. The size, composition, and spatial distribution of the population, but also on natural and migratory movement, as well as on the characteristics of housing and living conditions of households. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, gave an update on the objective of the third General Census of Population and Housing, commonly called the RGPH.
The morning meeting, this roundtable is about the fostering of financing for the census that we are going to conduct next year. I think the whole process will take 2 years, starting from this year. And we have put some methodology and pattern to go forward with this census. You all know and you are aware of the fact that without reliable figures, statistics, it's very difficult to engage in any kind of planning for the public affairs. So it's high time now. The last one has been conducted on 2009, and then the previous one was in, I think, 1984. So when you look at the growth of the population and you look at the challenges that we are faced with, it's quite natural that the government decides to go forward in this census. Now, the Institute for National Statistics will be the the institution in charge of conducting that. We also know that a lot of reforms have been introduced in this institute, and the reforms, some of them, Minister Ilyas just pointed out to them, and we believe that now the institute has the capacity when it comes to human resources, the strategic orientation, and also the capacity to conduct such an exercise. Indeed, we have fostered and mobilized 60% of the amount needed for that process. It's around $7.2 million. And also Minister Riyal said that 100 million Djibouti francs has also been mobilized in the financial fiscal year of 2022. And the remaining amount is around $3.7 million. And we believe that it is quite a critical exercise that we have to conduct. It is also part of the vision, the 2035 vision that our government is trying to implement. And we also know that all the partners present here this morning need reliable statistics in order to really make their action, their contribution to the development of this country, the more efficient possible. So these are a number of elements and piece of information that we would like to share with you. And we hope that during the course of the day, and I think also next day there will be also sessions, we will provide all necessary information. What is also very important is that we need you to share with us your experience. I know you have been exercising at a different level of leadership in your respective institutions. So that input, the insight you have to improve the process, to give us guidance, advices, ideas in the best practices that we can put in place so that we can move forward with this exercise. With this, I just would like to thank you again to attend this meeting, and I hope that I have given some clue in the two languages that I try to express myself with. Thank you very much.
For his part, the Minister of Finance said that at the international level, this plan is part of the cycle of synthesis of the 2020 series, scheduled by the United Nations Statistical Commission for the period of 2015 to 2024. Let's listen.
Cette importante réunion que le gouvernement de Djibouti
As every year, the Ministry of Social Affairs and Solidarity celebrates the National Week of Solidarity, with the aim of affirming the fundamental political priorities of the government and illustrating the possible fields of social action. The National Week of the year 2022 on the theme, the National Policy of Fighting Against Poverty Towards More Empowerment, started this Sunday, January 9, 2022, in the commune of Balbala, during which a workshop was organized at the Al-Rahma complex. As part of the launch of the integrated project of cash transfer and human capital training in Djibouti City, in the continuity of the National Week, the launching ceremony of the Pitch project continued this Monday, January 10, 2022, at the center of the National Union of Djiboutian Women. The event gathered a good 100 of women who visibly manifested an autism and a very particular joy to this noble initiative. The ceremony took place in the presence of the Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Ulufa Ismail Abdo, the Secretary General, Mrs. Fatuma Musa, the President of the Commune of Bulaos, development partners, and representative of the people. This event was an opportunity to inform and sensitize the Commune of Balbala on the integrated project of cash transfer and human capital training, implemented in urban areas through funding from the World Bank, the nationwide project, and provide a cash transfer from SEPEC to 2,500 households in extreme poverty in order to improve their standard living. Illustrates the new vision of the department, which now values the breaking of vulnerable households equal to be actors in their own development. Vulnerable households are combined and synthesized by ADDS and UNFD, but they also encourage to save their monetary resources in order to strengthen their resilience. This urban pitch project, which contributes to poverty reduction, enhances the economic productivity on the population. It also strengthens the food security of vulnerable households, while contributing to the improvement of their living conditions and well-being. The ministry now wishes to focus on the empowerment and resilience of the vulnerable population, and this is illustrated through its interventions and social programs. For her part, the Secretary General of the National Union of Djiboutian Women, Mrs. Fatima Musa, explained the importance of this project to empower and support Djiboutian women. Undoubtedly, this project aims to teach the neediest families how to save and invest their money. One of the efforts of the National Union of Djibouti Women to reduce the fight against poverty is to support families who suffer from extreme poverty and who do not get little job opportunities. The Minister of Social Affairs and Solidarity, Mrs. Ulufa Ismail Abdo, had in her speech evoked her activism and her vocation to fight for the rights of the Djiboutian woman. Driven by the will to bring more for her country and her firm commitment for the emancipation of the Djiboutian woman, Mrs. Ulufa Ismail declared herself more than ever determined to give free rein to her dream of promoting solidarity, and by doing so to stimulate the motivation of those able to give life to this impulse of solidarity. Moving on, as of Monday, January 10th, 2022, the epidemiological situation of COVID-19 in the Republic of Djibouti is as follows: 46 patients declared cured, 608 tests were performed, out of 140 positive cases were found, and 0 new case of deaths. Out of 608 people tested, 140 positive cases of COVID-19 were recorded, which is a percentage of 23.03%. The number of people vaccinated is 99,574. For those of you who have not yet been vaccinated, we urge you to get vaccinated without delay because vaccination remains the only effective way to protect yourself. For those who have already received their first doses of vaccine, you now have the opportunity to take a third dose to boost your immunity against this virus. Testing and vaccination are completely free of charge, and the Ministry of Health has set up a mobile screening unit and vaccine buses that travel around the neighborhoods to bring these services closer to the population. As for the circulation of the virus, it is still high and calls for the respect of which remains essential. Wearing masks at all times in all places, physical distance of at least 1 meter, regular hand washing, protection of vulnerable persons. The overall COVID-19 picture since the start of the pandemic are: 263,349 tests have been performed. 14,317 people have tested positive for COVID-19. 13,576 cases have been reported cured. 189 deaths to COVID-19 infection have been recorded since 2020. Let's all stay vigilant, protect ourselves and others. Let's all get vaccinated. Yesterday morning, under the leadership of the Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo Mumin Asowi, the re-owned Sheraton Hotel in Djibouti hosted the awarding of CEDA certificates to lucky participants in the training of cotton spinning and dyeing as part of the 7th International Exhibition of African Textile. The event, in addition to Dr. Hibo, the Minister of Youth and Culture, brought together parliamentarians, senior officials, all the recipients, and particularly the Miss who represented it at the beauty contest of the Horn of Africa in Rwanda. In her opening words, the minister first wished the audience a happy new year. In a long speech, the Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo, immediately congratulated the lucky recipients trained in the techniques of exploitation of the gold bank, cotton, as part of the 7th CETA exhibition, held last November in the Republic of Djibouti, under the patronage of His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. Dr. Hibo also paid a tribute to the head of state for having wanted and supported the organization of this event successfully. Her thanks also goes to Sheraton Hotel and particularly its general manager, Mr. Mustafa Fudil, for his unconditional support to the actions aiming at revitalizing the rich national cultures. In her speech, the Minister of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibo Mumin Asawi, indicated that the exhibition, which was organized in its 7th edition in Djibouti, contributed a lot to the promotion of national initiatives on the promotion of culture and the success of many promotional activities for our visual products that can contribute to promoting new outlets for the comprehensive integration of youth and development societal. Mr. Dr. Hibo encouraged young girls to advance in this new profession in modeling, in addition to participating in a beauty contest, of which Mahado Ayan is considered a model. The event is followed by a press conference desired by Her Excellency Dr. Hibo, dedicated to Ms. Djibouti Mahdiya Abdullahi and Mrs. Mahado Ayan, creator of an event company, a press conference where several national and foreign media are invited. In a word opening, Mrs. Mahado Ayan expressed herself in these terms. Answering the questions of the journalists, the two leading personalities of this event, respectively the owner of the company Arts and Events, Mrs. Mahado Ayan and Mrs. Mahdiya Abdullahi Darar, explained themselves in turn. As part of the regional integration was held today at the Kempinski Palace Hotel, a training seminar on leadership for more than 10,000 mayors from Somaliland. The opening ceremony was attended by the Vice President of Somaliland, Mr. Abdurrahman Abdullah Said, the Mayor of the capital, Mrs. Fatuma Awale Usman, and the Mayor of the City of Hargeisa, Mr. Abdul Karim Ahmed Mogi. This 4-day training will be provided by UNDP expert at the opening of the training. The Mayor welcomed the Vice President and all mayors present at the seminar. For his part, the Vice President thanked at length the Republic of Djibouti for the warm welcome he received and the holding of the training of the mayors of his country in Djibouti, and urged the newly elected mayors to participate actively and massively in the work of the training. Moving on towards the international scene now, Suu Kyi, who has been under house arrest since the military coup of February 1st, 2021, was convicted of, among other things, illegally importing walkie-talkies, according to a source close to the case. She had already been sentenced in December to 4 years detention for violating restrictions on the coronavirus. a sentence reduced to 2 years by the ruling generals. By this, our beloved viewers, we conclude this edition. Thank you for joining us and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening and thank you once again for being with us.